I'm losing my mind. I am totally out of control. I gotta fix whatever this is right now.
Yes.
We are officially locked in, Spidey Squad. But anyways, welcome back, true believers and all you spectacular Spidey fans out there, to an MCU Spider-Man video? What the hell is going on?
What the hell's going on with Pete?
He's not himself. Go help him.
But in all seriousness, is that amongst the general Spidey fan base, the overall amount of hype has never been higher for Spider-Man Brand New Day. And while I have personally stated in previous videos that I do have my fair share of criticisms towards MCU Spider-Man, and I am pretty much cautiously optimistic towards Brand New Day as a whole, I am sincerely hoping for the best when it does come to this movie. But more importantly is that based on all the massive amounts of information that we do currently have revolving around this film, not only coming directly from some of the supposed test audiences that have already seen the film, but also coming directly from some of the main cast and crew themselves. And man, if they're teasing what I think they're teasing, then Brand New Day now potentially has a chance to end up becoming one of my all-time favorite Spider-Man movies. But of course, only if the story of this movie, as well as this specific narrative that it may end up including, are both handled in the right way. Still, if you're someone who's beyond hype for Spider-Man Brand New Day, then definitely be sure to thwit that like button, hype up the video, and subscribe to the channel for even more Spider-Man videos like this down the line. So, alongside of the most recent trailer that we received for Spider-Man Brand New Day, there have been a lot, and I do mean a lot, of very interesting statements that have been revealed lately from the one and only Tom Holland himself, as well as the movie's director of Destin Daniel Cretton. Not to mention some very intriguing posts that do come from one of the villains of the movie, directly involving the Scorpion, played by Michael Mando. But before we dive into any of that, I do want to read off of this article from comicbasics.com, which does go on to unveil some rather critical information surrounding Brand New Day and the overall reception of the movie's potential ending. However, if you are someone who doesn't want to be spoiled relating to possibly anything surrounding Brand New Day, as well as the entire future of MCU Spider-Man, then this video may not be for you. But for those of you like me who are very interested to see what exactly Tom Holland's Spider-Man might have in store, is that this article goes on to elaborate, now the first reactions from those test screenings are making the rounds online, and the response has been remarkably consistent. According to Scooper, My Time to Shine Hello, who has a track record of breaking Marvel and DC casting and plot details ahead of official announcements, there was a recent test screening for Spider-Man Brand New Day, and the reaction was overwhelmingly positive. That report was further backed up by entertainment commentator John Campea, who said his sources told him reactions were beyond excellent, and significantly better than what Sony and Marvel originally hoped for. However, My Time to Shine Hello's latest update adds a notable wrinkle to the otherwise glowing early word. According to the post cited by Ringerverse, while reactions to the film overall were highly positive, the ending is specifically being described as controversial. This lines up with an earlier claim from the leaker SM Vision, who reported that Brand New Day would end badly and that fans should expect a bigger cliffhanger. The combination of a film that earns strong praise for the majority of its runtime while closing on something divisive is a tricky needle to thread, and is exactly the kind of detail that sends fan communities spiraling with theories. But in a separate interview with Screen Rant, Cretton expanded on Peter's new chapter, noting that Peter's not in high school anymore, and that it's that time in your mid-20s when the harsh realities of life can sometimes slap you in the face. He added that Peter is dealing with some real grown-up problems both personally and professionally, and for the first time, he's learning how to deal with them completely on his own. That that emotional grounding appears to be resonating with early viewers, even if the film's final moments are sparking debate rather than consensus. And boy, oh boy, what a tangled web that Brand New Day has weaved. Like we already know from the trailers, is that there is a lot going on within this movie, ranging from including other characters within the Marvel Cinematic Universe like what we've already seen with Jon Bernthal's Punisher, Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner, who will be turning into the Hulk in this movie, as well as some of the movie's potential antagonists like the Hand, and even Sadie Sink's character, who is more than likely going to be playing Jean Grey. But the most captivating element of everything that we've seen from Brand New Day thus far is everything that's going on with Peter. And whether or not this might be the reason as to why the ending of Brand New Day was seen as controversial amongst test audiences, where given that one of the major themes of Brand New Day does seem to revolve around evolution, seeing that Peter himself does begin to spawn organic webs and enhance strength, as well as his spider sense pretty much going on overload, a lot of theories for Peter do seem to imply that this all relates to the Man-Spider, and that the story of Brand New Day is pretty much shaping up to be an inverse of what we saw back with Spider-Man 2 in 2004, where one of the main plot lines of that movie was adapting the storyline of Spider-Man No More. And for a good portion of that movie, it primarily only focused on Peter and having Peter embrace his more human side. But with Spider-Man Brand New Day, especially given what we've already seen in Spider-Man No Way Home, where the entire world as well as his closest friends have completely forgotten about Peter Parker's existence, the only person that now remains in Peter's life simply being Spider-Man, where Peter would end up diving too far into his Spider-Man persona and end up becoming Man-Spider as a result of that, definitely sounds like a rather interesting story. And for all we know, that could still end up happening within some part of the story in Brand New Day. But we actually already recently saw the Man-Spider sort of be adapted in the recent live-action television show of Spider-Noir. And if you saw that show for yourself, then you would know how creepy the Man-Spider can end up looking like in live action. And while I thoroughly enjoyed that show, especially how different it was in comparison to the other Spider-Man adaptations that we have seen in recent years, I almost feel like doing the Man-Spider twice in 1 year would just be going a bit overboard. And if anything, the biggest factor that we can directly look at in regards to what the story of Brand New Day could feature does pertain to Michael Mando as Scorpion, and specifically some of the things he's been posting on social media. If you do look back in 2025, Michael Mando actually posted these specific images on Instagram, not only directly confirming that he is going to be returning in Spider-Man Brand New Day as Mac Gargan from when we last saw him in Spider-Man Homecoming, now fully becoming the Scorpion, but more importantly is that he decided to include images of Scorpion, which also involve the symbiote and Venom, where if you know from the comics, is that Mac Gargan himself actually ends up becoming one of the main hosts of the Venom symbiote. And on top of that is that the main director of Destin Daniel Cretton did go online stating everybody should go see Spider-Man Brand New Day as if it's the last Spider-Man movie. So clearly the entire Brand New Day cast and crew are trying their absolute best to get fans excited to go out and see this movie. And while the trailers are trying their best to keep some shred of mystery as to what the story of this movie is going to be, it seems pretty clear as it stands right now towards one of the biggest aspects of the film that are still being kept a secret. And for me, I am now 90% sure at this point that the biggest secret of Brand New Day is that at some point within the movie, either near the end of the film or even during one of the movie's post-credit scenes, is that one way or another, Tom Holland's Spider-Man will end up acquiring the one and only black suit. We already know that there was a splotch of the symbiote that was left at the very end of the final post-credit scene of Spider-Man No Way Home, as well as the full-on display of having Tom Hardy's Venom directly acknowledge MCU Spider-Man. And whether or not that moment may have been retconned within the MCU based on what we previously saw in Venom: The Last Dance is still unknown as it stands right now. But I think it's safe to say that the Sony Marvel Cinematic Universe is absolutely cooked where it stands right now. And while those were pretty entertaining post-credit scenes, I don't think that we're going to see Tom Hardy's Venom and Tom Holland's Spider-Man interact in any way in the future. But what I could see happening, especially based on Michael Mando's posts, is that the symbiote, one way or another, could be reintroduced within Brand New Day, and in turn, make Michael Mando's Mac Gargan the inevitable main host of the MCU's version of the Venom symbiote. We already know that Spider-Man himself will not be appearing within the upcoming Avengers Doomsday, but it is more than likely that Spider-Man will appear in the following film of Avengers Secret Wars. And what better way to have Spider-Man appear in Secret Wars than by fully donning this universe's version of the black suit, as well as recreating the iconic comic panel of the black suit's first appearance, which we've already seen Spider-Man Brand New Day fully embrace in the first trailer. But above all else is that one of the other biggest rumors revolving around Brand New Day is that some point within the movie, more than likely within Act 3, is that Peter Parker will die. Whether or not that relates to battling the Hulk or whatever the main threat of the movie truly is, one way or another, Peter is likely going to end up biting the bullet within this movie. And if they end up putting Peter 6 feet under, then there is easily another comic panel that they could recreate within the movie from Kraven's Last Hunt. But besides all of the potential aura farming that we could see here, the biggest reason as to why I think this is going to happen is because Tom Holland himself has also previously stated that he has spent a lot of time listening to podcasts and watching YouTube videos to see exactly what fans are yearning for when making Spider-Man Brand New Day, which not only relates to maturing Peter as a character, but also darkening the story of where he could go down the line. And what better way for Tom Holland to do that than by fully embracing one of the darkest parts of Peter's life by completely wearing the black suit. And as it stands right now, we currently know that Avengers Secret Wars does release in December of 2027. So by the time that movie releases, it will have been 20 years since we last saw the black suit in live action within a Spider-Man movie, all the way back in 2007 with Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 3. So not only would this be a great way to reintroduce the black suit storyline in live action, but it would also allow for an even more deeper narrative considering how long Tom Holland has been playing Peter Parker in the MCU. But the funniest thing about this whole ordeal, and the biggest reason as to why I think it's even more proof that this will end up happening, directly relates to Insomniac Games. Because as we all know, is that they have officially confirmed that the Spider-Man Brand New Day suit, which they have titled the Fresh Start suit, will be officially added in Marvel Spider-Man 2 for no additional cost on July 28th, which is only 3 days before the movie releases on July 31st. And simply imagine the fan reception and broader marketing synergy that could end up happening here, where it is the easiest thing to imagine at this point that by the time Spider-Man Brand New Day releases, players will already be diving back into Marvel Spider-Man 2 to try out the new costume. And just picture that if the black suit is shown at the very end of Spider-Man Brand New Day, only for Insomniac to end up adding the black suit from Brand New Day within Marvel Spider-Man 2 a week after the movie is in theaters, especially considering that the black suit is the main storyline of Marvel Spider-Man 2, would be the literal definition of absolute cinema, which would go on to prove yet again why Insomniac are the absolute best. But in the end, we're just gonna have to wait and see as to what exactly the entirety of Spider-Man Brand New Day will feature. So I'll just make sure to keep my fingers crossed for the absolute best outcome by the time Brand New Day releases next month. And with all that said, everyone, that's the video I have for all you today, and please let me know all your thoughts in the comments section down below. On a scale of 1 to 10, how likely do you think it is that we could see the black suit be featured in Spider-Man Brand New Day? And furthermore, do you think that it could actually be the thing that Peter is struggling with throughout the movie, or simply be teased as a post-credit scene? Let me know what you think. Be sure to leave a like and hype the video, as well as subscribe to the channel if you did enjoy, and for even more Spider-Man videos like this in the future, definitely be sure to sign up to my channel memberships to receive even more exclusive videos, perks, and benefits. And without further ado, thank you all so much for watching. Stay spectacular, Spidey fans. Until next time, peace out.